What's going on, everyone? It's Blizzard, and I'm here with the week three recap. So we had a pretty entertaining week this week, and so yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm joined today by
What's up, guys? Chuckles, new to the ODL league. Yeah, let's discuss week three.
yeah. I think it was a pretty fun week, so we can take a look. Up first, we have Voids versus Soup. Interesting matchup. Metatite was
Mhm.
brought to this one. And we have one, two, three. We have four total mons that could want the Eviolite, which is kind of fun. Um, but I expect it to be on Clefairy and Piloswine. I don't know what Metatite's here for. Um,
Like skill swap, pure power or something.
yeah, I guess
I
with
guess.
with these top three or Strapped, I mean, yeah, all of them we could kind of work with. Voids, I don't know if he has a great answer for Slowbro. I mean, he has Hydrapple, but Slowbro's Terra Ghost, and then once he Terras, it's kind of like I imagine it's gonna be really hard to remove Slowbro if he can Terra. Um, Terra Bug, King Gambit, I think we saw last week versus Charcoal, um, which is fun. And yeah, I feel like Intimidate Arcanine is a little bit weird here because you probably do want to bring it. It's good for Ursaluna, but Ursaluna is the only physical attacker here. Maybe Magmortar's physical. You could count Gligar as a physical mon, but it, it's probably running Hypercutter, right? So it's really only for Ursaluna, which would be an interesting choice because like I don't know if you get more out of Flash Fire with Magmortar here, but yeah, just some thoughts. Um, and then on Void side, I think he wants to lean into Trick Room. Has to watch out for an imprisoned Trick Room on Soup's side. But both teams look like they really want to play in Trick Room here. Um, with the slightly slower Mons being on Void's side, so that's another good thing to consider. And yeah, let's get into it. We have an immediate Gligar Ursaluna lead. Or Gligar's already hitting the field, and then Straptor Slowbro. So kind of threatening Tailwind on both sides and Trick Room on Slowbro as well. U-turn comes out here into
Mm.
Piloswine. And then Tailwind does come out and
Tailwind.
Imprison. So could have easily been a Trick Room there, which would have really sucked for Voids, going for the Tailwind there. But also, um, that damage from U-turn was a lot, so that's because it's resisted, right? Maybe four times resisted. I don't know if it's four times resisted or just two times resisted, but either way, it should not be doing 21%. So that's definitely not Eviolite on Gligar, which is something good to know. And yeah, Imprison Trick Room's interesting because he's probably just gonna rip Trick Room this turn, right? Or he wants to at least.
This
So. And we reveal also no Flame Orb on Ursaluna, which is a little bit of an interesting choice. We've seen, uh, I think we've seen it maybe week one, but we didn't see it last week either on Voids. So he's choosing to kind of run a little bit less expected sets on Ursaluna, which is good. I think that Ursaluna can very easily be a straightforward Pokemon. And so making it a less straightforward one is always a solid choice. So yeah. And he does immediately Terra Dark. Brick Break comes out into Piloswine doing a ton of damage, and Terra Blast really not
Paralyzed.
doing that much.
Fisher.
And then Fissure. Ooh, wow. Muddy Water just nukes Gligar. But good Terra there on Ursaluna's part. Can't believe it did only 60 to Slowbro, even though it's like a physical, super strong attack. But I guess Slowbro is really tanky. And then Fissure is kind of crazy. I don't know what the thought process really was behind that, but interesting play there. Yeah. Magmortar hits the field with Air Balloon. Huh. Maybe for earthquakes, I imagine. But interesting choice on the Air Balloon as well. Like some interesting decisions being made by Voids here. As Ice Shard breaks the Air Balloon, that could be really bad. Heat
Oh,
Wave comes out, picks up the kill, and is it Earthquake? No, it's Terra Blast. Okay.
Okay, that would have been bad.
That would have been really bad, yeah. An
Yeah.
immediate Terra Bug there, but that's going to make him take super effective damage and get burned.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that could be really, really bad. And low kick comes out and does not a
Yeah,
lot. He would barely
big
survive
burn.
that if he weren't burned. Good
Oof.
protect there as Thunderbolt nukes it. Oh my god.
Wow.
Voids is locked in.
Should have seen this game live.
Yeah. And not, I guess not wanting to miss a heat wave. And you outspeed, so it
Wow.
makes sense to make that. Actually, that's a good safe play there by Voids. Or maybe he's just stat padding first Luna. Either way, solid play. And yeah, only loses
There's one.
Gligar there. Otherwise, very good play. It's a little unlike Soup to be kind of getting cooked this much, but yeah, the I guess you got the turn one pretty wrong there, not going for Trick Room, and I feel like the Trick Room is a little obvious when you see this situation. Um, you you should immediately see the fact you both have Tailwind that you're threatening, but he doesn't have Trick Room, so you can just rip Trick Room. If you U-turn, that's perfectly fine. You can bring out Piloswine or King Gambit or maybe Metatite, any of your slower Pokemon, to work with it. And yeah, you don't want to give Ursula a Trick Room, but if you have Muddy Water and Slowbro, you should feel fine about it. I don't really get the logic behind just kind of not setting Trick Room at all this game, especially once he on turn two, like now it's very clear you want to set Trick Room, but yeah, Slowbro felt a little bit more useless here. I think that's a little bit of a concern with any Pokemon that is running imprison strategies or like super defensive strategies. They can very easily be a Pokemon that just kind of sits on the field and doesn't do much. So I think Muddy Water was a good idea, but here he kind of got bullied by Ursaluna and can't even Terra Ghost, right? Because that's also weak to Dark and Terra Dark, Terra Blast. So really not
Right.
anything Slowbro can do here. Yeah, pretty commanding game one from Voids. I'm curious to see how Soup will adapt for game two. Immediately leads
Ooh.
with his two fairies, yeah. And then Staraptor Slowbro lead on
Second
the other
game.
end. Huh. Well, it feels like both want to set Trick Room again here, but Tailwind is available on Soup's side on the field. As Double Edge just rips out into Clefairy.
Okay.
And then Imprison comes out,
Imprison again.
but Nuzzle, ooh, really good
Not a
play
trick
there.
room. Okay.
Yeah, no Trick Room there. Would have got imprisoned. But the Imprison Tech was already revealed last game as well, so it's kind of he should have. I mean, that was the correct play, not like kind of falling for that pretty easy a trap. But that looks like maybe banded damage on Straptor, or this is a no Eviolite Clefairy. But if you're not running it on Gligar, you're definitely running it on Clefairy. So I think it's I would assume it's banded damage from Straptor. Switching out into Gambit as well. And then Muddy Water picks up on Clefairy, actually. D-Gleam not doing a ton of damage, but gets the crit. There's a little bit more to Slowbro there. And then a double Terra here, barely holding on.
Oh, there's a.
Ironhead comes out
I don't have it.
instead of the low kick, which is interesting. Because you got an Iron-headed Hatterene or low kick to the Ursaluna, and I believe he revealed low kick last game, yeah. So interesting choice there.
Yeah.
Again, a Terra Dark on the Muddy Water, which works out pretty well. And then Mystical Fire. Pretty good tech. Oh,
Wait.
but
Oh shit.
giving the Defiant boost to King Gambit is really rough. Because now Gambit is going to hit like a truck. Wow. And your Terra's already used up. So it has to rip the attack into the Gambit. Hoping he can kill it with the Hatterene here. But he barely holds
Oh, Gambit
on.
lives.
Wow. And now we're in a situation where it's down to the last two. One of them is Hatterene here, who looks like it. I don't know if it's an AV set or just not running Protect or any status moves there. But yeah, that'd be really interesting if you didn't bring Trick Room into this team. Because you expect a Psychic move last, right? Maybe not a whole lot of mons you want to hit with the psychic move on this team. But if you're running Deagleam and Mystical Fire, you have no answer for Arcanine, right? So you probably want a psychic move, I imagine, and then Hydra. So like yeah, no speed control available on this side, and then we have Staraptor in the back who's paralyzed on the other side. Only form of speed control there, but I don't think if it is in fact AV Hatterene, he will, or 4 attack at least, then Sucker Punch just kills it instantly. And Hydrapple has to watch out for ice moves and can't do anything about it because Terra is unavailable. So it has to protect here as Icicle Crash comes out. And then Iron Head comes out into the Hatterene. So no Sucker, but Sucker into Hydrapple now, who dies to Icicle Crash. So yeah, I don't think there's any chance of coming
Okay.
back there if you're Voids. Yeah, I think I think it was a good adaptation by Soup, but pretty interesting to go for the same kind of Slowbro strategy that didn't really work game one, didn't really work game two either. And I think going into game three, you should not be leading Slowbro unless you're planning on setting Trick Room. So, but yeah, it is Gligar Ursaluna like this, like game one, and then it is the same lead of Slowbro and Staraptor, ripping a double edge into Sash
Oh,
Gligar, so it is not Eviolite. As Tailwind comes out and Imprison comes out as well.
in prison again.
Another switch here, as Dark Terra Blast is probably coming out here. Oh,
Whoa.
it's close combat.
Holy shit.
Brick Break and close combat into this King Gambit. Wow, good play there, honestly. I would not have guessed that. I think Terra Blast probably would have been better, actually, because you can Brick Break again next turn. I guess he could Terra, though, and you really don't want him to be able to Terra. So that covers for a switch, and assuming it's bandaged to Raptor, if he stays in, he'll also die, so... pretty solid play there, I would say. But what is Slowbro gonna do? Just muddy water? Oh, he does set Trick Room. Good.
Oh, shit.
Finally, he really needed to do that because he's now able to pick up the kill. Oh, why would you not just Icicle
Oh,
Crash? He's -1 defense. You probably pick up or get pretty close to it. Ursaluna has high defense, but still, you can get pretty close to it. And then Ursaluna won't be able to. Yeah, because close combat just nukes Piloswine. Ooh. Rough play there by Soup. Just has gone for 2 fissures this game, and both have missed and really punished. So, switches out, which is really good there. Terra Ghost actually on this
oh.
Raptor, but yeah, on the incoming switch in, not only is the air balloon gone, and he loses
Accuracy
half his
drop.
health, but the his accuracy is dropped. Yeah, and then what? Nuzzle in Trick Room.
In Trick Room.
I guess it was super effective
Interesting.
before the Terra. But still, yeah, pretty strong misplay there and goes down actually. Uh-oh, this could be really bad because Ursuluna could get under sped. Oh, and Magmortar goes down. Oh, it's a full para. Oh, he got
Oh, I
so
can't believe
lucky. Oh, he
that's
got so lucky. That's crazy. And Trick Room's gonna run out. Oh my god, Trick Room's gonna run out and Soup's gonna
wow.
lose. Wow.
Very close game.
Came down to the full para here because in this situation, I mean, Magmortar goes down. Literally any move that Straptor clicks. Again, probably banded double edge here. But that would easily kill Ursaluna, right? Even if it didn't, it would do at least like 15%, which is what was needed. So, very tragic on Soup's part. Soup, all of last season, I said that he was better than his record suggested, and it looks like it's kind of happening again here, where Soup is now, I believe, 0-3, which is crazy because he's a good player and he's been keeping it super close week after week. And here, he would have won the set if he hadn't gotten extremely unlucky. So really unfortunate there. Hope Soup can turn things around, but not in week 5 because that's when I play him. But other than that, and then yeah, if he hadn't gone for Fissure there, would have been a very different story. He could have easily killed Ursaluna there. But just the 2
Right.
Fissure misses and the 2 games he lost were really killer. Like high horsepower, ice cold crash, like literally any damage. Even Ice Shard probably would have picked up, but
That
like
would have been enough damage. So Lowbro could kill with Muddy Water there at the end.
Yeah, would have been a game changer,
Unfortunate.
but
Oh yeah.
so yeah, that is very unfortunate. Um, Going for that strategy, but now we have sorry. Now we have Saline versus Shanji, and this is an interesting one because Shanji just revamped their entire team, and this is the first week we get to see their new team. Thankfully, they were able to pick up some really good Pokemon that were available at the time. Low Kicks, Bronzong, and Comfey, all new additions here. I think Cinderace as well, actually. So, yeah, Cinderace was another. It was a Typhlosion, right? It was another fire type. So, yeah, a lot of big changes here, and I think they're all for the better. I think his team improved so much from those changes, and now we have Comfey as a Tailwind and Trick Room setter, much better Trick Room setter in Bronzong, because before it was just I forget exactly who. It's been a while, but he did just have one Trick Room setter, one Tailwind setter, I believe, or something like that. It was kind of rough though, and now he has much better support. Yeah, Porygon 2 was his only Trick Room setter. Yeah, I guess my mic is making a lot of background noise. Um, but Bronzong is a much better Trick Room setter than Porygon because Porygon typically doesn't want to be the one setting Trick Room without any redirection. But Bronzong is very easily able to do so. And having both Porygon and Bronzong as Trick Room setters makes the situation much better because it's easier to kind of get Trick Room up, which is really huge in these situations. Low Kick's super strong attacker on the physical side, which is nice because this team could have used a little bit more physical firepower. Milotic, very good glue piece for this team, was really good kind of early on, but is still a really important part of this team. Comfey, yeah, I think works pretty well, helping Ursaluna especially because Ursaluna feels so good in this matchup. The Blood Moon should be able to one-shot potentially one-shot the Rotom Heat. Earth Power, super effective into two of these Pokemon, one of which can't Terra. Mind's Eye to hit the Houndstone. So yeah, I think this matchup is probably slightly in Shanji's favor, but Saline does have a very strong team, and you see the Rock Slide spam could actually hit two of these Frailmons are super effective and kill them. So that's something to look out for as well if you're Saline. So do you have any thoughts?
Hold on, I was low key doing something else. I don't know. I feel like low kicks would be pretty good here for Sandy. Interesting sand team. Sandrush Griever is actually cool. I've never seen that before. Let's let the battles begin.
It's Houndstone, the evolved.
I mean, Houndstone. Forgot his name.
But yeah, it's a good Pokemon because it can run either Sand Rush or Fluffy, which are two really good abilities. Fluffy doubling its physical bulk in exchange for a fire weakness. But yeah, let's see how it turns out. We have an immediate Rotom Heat and Excalibur. Interesting. Into Bronzong and Milotic. Immediate Terra Dragon, probably for the fire moves from Rotom. And it reveals that it is, in fact, Levitate Bronzong. Makes sense with Terra Dragon especially. You don't really need Heat Proof here. It's good for Rotom, of course, but Earthquake is probably more of a problem, so. And also, sorry, other thing to mention is that Excadrill is Air Balloon, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, Thunderbolt comes out into Milotic as well, so it probably will just die here. Yeah, does just die. And Body Press comes out into Excadrill, doing a ton of damage, actually. Interesting. Yeah, Milotic was kind of a sitting duck there, which is unfortunate. It could have Terra'd, but it could have Terra Watered, so it really could not have. They would have kept it as a mono water type, and has Terra Water. So maybe forgot to change that, or maybe to power up certain attacks. But yeah, Bronzong is actually going to choose to Terra here instead and taking no damage because it's not Disquake, it's just Thunderbolt Earthquake, which is interesting because Discharge Earthquake would have done like the same thing, but maybe he wanted to pick up the kill guaranteed. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, Ursula is in a decent spot here. Has to watch out for the a double up, but it really should be able to live pretty easily. Yeah, so T-Tar does come out because Exgus kind of knows that he will go down here, but ooh, Vacuum Wave actually would have probably picked up on the Exca, but if he'd gone for Earth Power into the slot instead, it would have been a much better play. Still does solid damage, I guess. And Wisp comes out into Bronzong as Trick Room comes up. So Wisp also has the power of Body Press, which is physical move. So pretty interesting that I'm not exactly sure why. Sorry. Well, I guess you don't want Body Press to pick up on Tyranitar. And Rotom can't really do anything else in this situation, so Wisp is actually really not that bad here. But yeah, we see Shanti, even though he's down a Pokemon, he's in a really good spot positionally. So Tyranitar does Terra Flying, could matter with Iron Defense. Blood Moon does not quite pick up on Rotom, actually, as Knockoff removes the Chople Berry, and Overheat picks up. Oh, wow.
Ooh, wow.
Now Saline is in a really good spot. As Low Kicks comes in, but has to protect here. And Rotom goes down, but Rock Slide comes out. Really does nothing there, but Tyranitar is going to have to be in for an interesting situation. Indeedee also could be running the Sash here. Body Press comes out. Terra Flying nukes it, and it is revealed that Tyranitar is slower, which makes sense actually, now that I think about it, but it's just not slow Low Kicks. And Expanding Force comes out, but he's burned, and Sandship, Sandship because he's Terra Dragon, so. Oh, doesn't choose to pick up the kill on Indeedee for differential, so a little bit of a misplay there too. And so yeah, Shanji will lose this one 3-0, so pretty convincing win for Saline. I thought he played pretty well there. Having the Indeedee at the end was really crucial. And saving the Exca was smart because Exca could kind of come in once Trick Room ends and be able to kind of clean up from there. Shanji also is in a situation where Low Kicks goes for Detect with something like First Impression or Knockoff available. First Impression would be not very effective in the Tyranitar, but Tinted Lens makes it so that it's not very effective, but then it gets multiplied by 2, and so it's basically neutral and everything. So yeah, would have been able to deal quite a bit of damage to Tyranitar. So interesting decision there, but yeah, pretty convincing win from Saline nonetheless. And curious to see if Game 2 goes any different. Oh, and Decidueye lead instantly, and Comfey leads. So already in the lead, 2 Pokemon that were benched last game. As Decidueye goes for Terra Steel, E-Force comes out into Comfey. Then Knockoff does bring Indeedee down to Sash, and Pollen Puff picks up on Indeedee. Good play there. Oh, but Brave Bird nukes Low Kicks with a crit.
Holy crap.
We've seen in previous weeks the triple arrows with Razor Claw, which has both of them increased the crit ratio by 1, and 2 out of a +2 crit ratio is a 50-50 crit chance. But without running triple arrow, or without clicking triple arrows, every attack still is a 1 in 8 chance, so it's much more common than normal. And so that could be the case, or he could have just gotten pretty lucky. But yeah. And then our Balloon Exca hits the field here and just gets nuked by a Flare Blitz. Wow. Saline just tanks that. As Tailwind comes out, and Triple Arrows does not crit the Cinderace. If it did crit, it would have picked up the kill there. But instead, Cinderace lives, gets the defense drop, but eats the Citrus Berry. So should have died there if it were a crit. But yeah, pretty good situation for Shanji now because Salion's down to his last two, and his two fast Pokemon are gone. Excadrill in Sand would have been pretty nice to have here, but Exa couldn't Terra, so he just kind of had to tank that. Could have also switched into Tyranitar, which would have been the play, but chose not to. And Decidueye looks like he'll just die to Cinderace here, probably. Though Rock Slide should do a ton into both of these guys. Oh, Decidueye goes for Protect. Good call there. And also, it is Flare Blitz over Pyro Ball, which is really interesting. I guess doesn't want to risk the miss, but still, it's kind of a weird call there. Let's go for that. Pollen Puff really heals the Cinderace, but who dodges the Rock Slide, by the way, really crucial because at -1 defense, super effective stab Rock Slide. It's probably doing a ton of damage to this thing, if not killing it. At 80-something%. So really crucial dodge there because it allows it to pick up on Decidueye. And then Pollen Puff rips again, gets Cinderace back up to full, but does die to Rock Slide from full HP at -1
Wow.
defense. Wow. Really tragic situation there if you're Shanji, because you're expecting to live the turn, but would have been much more beneficial to go for like a fairy move into Tyranitar or something. But yeah, now it still should be one for Shanji. Ooh, especially with that Spadef drop. Yeah, with the Chople Berry, it'll still be a 2-hit. Oh, it does kill. Wait, what? It went from doing
It went from 70 to 30.
Yeah, I think the 70% was it was probably low
high
roll
roll.
into high roll. Yeah, I imagine low
Wow.
roll into high roll. Like we did 60 the first time, then 70 the second time. But with the Spadef drop, he would have lost actually if he didn't high roll that. So that's kind of crazy. Yeah. Very, very tragic situation for Shanji. It felt like this game was very winnable for him, but the between this situation, I thought it would just ruin his diff, but no, in fact, it lost him the entire game, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, GG's there, and good win for Saline. All right, now we have Spam versus P4, and another interesting match because these are two singles players, almost exclusively. And so interesting to see them both in Phalanx now. But also two interesting teams. I think the Golden Go team on Spam's end is pretty solid. He did recently make some changes to it, but those don't come into effect just yet. And so we'll be kind of seeing what how those affect him a little bit later. But in this matchup, Hawlucha is pretty good into Volcarona. Clefable's really good for redirection. Jolteon's very fast, outspeeds P4's whole team without Scarf, which you could totally be running Scarf on something. Golden Go is really strong generally and threatened the Weezing especially. Hydreigon with Terra Flying, Terra Blast can hit a lot of things, especially the Volk and the Toedscruel. And then Infernape is generally quite good. Also has the has Fake Out at its disposal, which is quite nice to have. And then we also see Terra Ice, presumably Terra Ice, Terra Blast on the Jolteon. Terra Water, Clefable makes sense. Terra Water on or Fire is typical on Weezing. Terra Fire is interesting on Volk. Actually, I'm not maybe just for more damage. Terra Flying also makes sense on Slacking. Ghost on these makes sense. So yeah, kind of very standard and reasonable Terra types all around. But curious to see how this one plays out. Oh yeah, so it's an Infernape Hydreigon lead into Electivire and Volcarona. So I helped spam with Mox this week, and one of the strategies that I said for this specific lead that I thought was best was you taunt the Volcarona and click Tailwind here. Because Hydreigon is slower than Volcarona, but Infernape is faster. So you can taunt the Volcarona, and of course Electivire can follow me, but in that case, it redirects, and then Electivire can't click follow me anymore, which is still good. And you Tailwind, so you get up Tailwind And even if he gets up Tailwind as well with the follow me, he can't follow me anymore, and then you're still in a pretty solid situation, especially because you do outspeed Electivire with both probably. So you should be in a pretty good spot. But that was kind of always seen as the play, and I think I told him that maybe once or twice. But he Terra Ghosts here on the Electivire and goes for Fake Out. So Spam deviates and gets really punished for it on the Terra Ghost by Electivire. Then Terra Flying here because he wants to rip a Terra Flying Terra Blast. Doesn't care about getting Tailwind up. Or maybe he wants to protect himself from Bug Buzz for getting Electivire. Can hit him for super effective. So this Scarf Electivire, which is pretty interesting, rips an Electroweb into the Hydreigon and Infernape. Lowers the speed and lets Heat Wave rip and picks up on Hydreigon. So literally the worst possible turn 1 for Spam. I don't think it could have gone any worse than it did. So very, very unfortunate. We now have a -1 speed Infernape who underspeeds both these guys. And looks like there's not even a real chance for Clefable to Terra in front of the electric type, right? So... Oh, actually, and because Terra was wasted, yeah. But, ooh, barely holding on both ends. Knockoff doing a ton of damage to Electivire, but Life Dew is not going to matter because this Heat Wave is doing infinite damage. But, yeah, it should be a Specs damage there from Volcarona as well. So, it's now Goldango versus the World, who will just die to a Heat Wave.
Oh, no.
Heat Wave just did not miss at all, which is 90% accurate, so you don't have to expect it to, but still quite nice that it didn't. And yeah, P4 won that very easily in 4 turns. The turn 1 play was just really rough on Spam's then, and so it just meant that it was kind of over before it started. So yeah. But we'll see if Spam can adjust and adapt for game 2, leading with the Hydreigon and Clefable into Slacking Wheezing, a pretty standard lead here. And Double Edge rips into the Clefable, doing so much damage. Earth Power also doing a ton of damage, actually. And Sludge Bomb coming out into Hydreigon, with Life Dew healing them both. So another kind of slightly poor Life Dew there. Kind of didn't accomplish a ton if you're Spam. But he can follow me this upcoming turn. Wouldn't really do anything. I guess it would save Hydreigon from getting nuked by Double Edge, so it's still probably the play, because even if he gets Sludge Bombed or he's going to get Degleamed, right? But he can kill Weezing first, so I guess it's worth it still. Yeah, so probably solid play there by Spam. And then rips the Earth Power, so basically a trade Weezing for Clefable. And if you're Spam, you usually want to take that trade, because it also really weakens Slacking, who has Truant, all right? So if Slacking exists without Clefable, you can just play around it so easily. And yeah, I think that's a pretty negative trade for P4. But Terrafire on the Volt, getting Rock Slided from Hawlucha here. Yeah, loafing around on Slacking's end, which the Dark Pulse comes out into Slacking. No attack in a Volk. I think it would have made more sense to kill Volk there, but probably not expecting to the Truant on Slacking, I imagine. Yeah, or wanting to Rock Slide next turn, so you don't want to, like, fighting move into the Slacking, I guess. So not that bad. Ooh, and the flinch on Volk is really bad there. Could have picked up a kill on the Hydreigon, which would have been really nice to have, especially with Electivire hitting the field now. Would have been really nice to get rid of that thing, so... Yeah, but Electroweb does come out and misses the Hawlucha, so just really bad RNG from P4. Does dodge a Rock Slide, but not the one that wants to dodge it, and Electivire will just get nuked by Earth Power, so... Yeah, that was a lot of RNG in Spam's favor there, but still played pretty well, actually. Yeah, definitely got RNG, which was very helpful in his win there. So, yeah, we'll see if P4 can claw his way back in Game 3. Did have a pretty good lead and very good Game 1, so would be unsurprising if he were able to win it here in this Game 3. But, yeah, Let's get into it. It is an Amphirenape and Hydreigon lead here into Electivire Volk. So same as game one. Fake Out comes out into the Volk this time, much better play. And no Terra Flying, also much better play. As Volk flinches and Dark Pulse, wow, crits and nukes Electivire. Earth Power would have been a better play there, but yeah, I guess covering for Terra as well, because game one was Terra Ghost, right? So I don't think there was a huge chance of P4 going for it again, but yeah, not super unreasonable. I would say, but game would look very different without that crit there. So yeah, and now Slacking as the field is able to pick up on Infernape, but Hydreigon eats a Bug Buzz as well. So Terra Flying would have been really good there actually. So yeah, now it's suddenly on turn 3, a 2v3, but Terra's still available, except only on Clefable, actually, so, because Goldengo is Terra banned. So it would have been really good to Terra Hydreigon there, because you literally can't Terra Goldengo, right? So, curious to see what happens now. It is a Follow Me Double Edge, doing a ton of damage, but Shadow Ball comes out into the Weezing, okay. And here, Protect. I feel like this is a misplay. You don't ever really want to Protect here because Clefable is going down no matter what, right? This is definitely Banded Slacking, so he can't switch it up. If you can Psychic the Weezing here, because he's running Psychic, if you can Psychic the Weezing here, then it's Volk versus and Slacking versus Goldengo. You're going to lose that, but Slacking is basically a 1v1 because Slacking can't do anything, right? Because he literally can't touch you, so... Yeah, I think this is still a misplay. Heat Wave rips from the Weezing, but yeah. Volk hits the field, but Weezing goes down to Psychic, and yeah, that should have been the play last turn. Now, Slacking is able to knock off because it's able to switch up its attack and is able to pick up the kill. And yeah, pretty solid game 3 from P4. Not a ton of RNG in game 3, just kind of in game 2. But the biggest thing actually is that item. You see Shuka Berry here because of high horsepower on Slacking and Earth Power on Toedscruel. But Colbur was another option for knockoff from Slacking and maybe the Electivire. Then Oka was the third, or Aka Berry is the third option from Heat Wave and from both of these two. Which is the Fire Resist Berry, and that would have been really good here. Would have put in a ton of work. I told Spam you gotta kind of gotta pick one of 3, and he just kind of made the wrong call, and it was hard to kind of know what would be the best. I think Oka was probably the best, especially in hindsight. It would have been the best, but yeah, you can't really get too mad at yourself for making the wrong call there. And yeah, let's move on to our next game, which is Wa versus Alberto. In this one, we have a Pass Kilowattrel lead and Furret Pult lead. Interesting because Pult is incredibly fast, but Scarf Passimian is very typical, and so you might expect that, but you have Furret to kind of cover your bases. Furt is a really good mon to have in draft because you get so much information right away. He's able to immediately learn that this is in fact AV on the Passimian and Covert Cloak on the Kilowattrel. So Alberto maybe had Fake Out from someone else, but can't be Rockside flinched or Icicle Crash flinched, which is also really important. Always going to be able to get up Tailwind here. So, yeah, that is really valuable for Wa. And then the AV is an interesting choice. Maybe just to survive certain attacks, maybe like Moonblast, especially with Terra. But yeah, interesting choice on the AV there. I guess with Terra Bug maybe, the flying, but not from Honchkrow. I don't know. But I do also want to mention that Basque is Terra banned, so keep that in mind. Really strong Pokemon, and with Terra it would be really crazy. So, another idea is that Terra Normal Quagsire here should, in theory, wall Basque Legion and do a really good job of stopping it because it has Water Absorb and it is Terra Normal. So with Terra Normal, it is immune to Last Respects, and with Water Absorb, it is immune to Aqua Jet and Wave Crash and Liquidation, all that stuff from Basque Legion. So. And then also confirmed that Covert Cloak was for Incin, a Pokemon that Alberto typically would want to bring as his A+ Pokemon, but opts out from bringing here, which is pretty interesting that he chose to do so because it feels like it would have been good to have a Dark type into these two, especially. But having a Fire type into a Rain team is also a bit of an uphill battle, so it's one of a reasonable decision there. And yeah, I'm curious to see how this one plays out because Tailwind looks like it could just rip on Wa's side, but the only form of speed control on Alberto's side, the potential Tailwind from these two Pokemon. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's a Follow Me right away and Dragon Darts. Ooh, interesting. Tailwind comes out and then knock off on the Furret, getting rid of the Sash. As Thunderbolt picks up on Furret and knock off with the Colberberry crit. Actually kind of almost canceling each other out, but Colberberry still, being effective there. And allowing Polt to tank that. And rip another Dragon Darts, which gets Kilo pretty low and crit on pass to get him pretty low too. Now with Mamoswine with Ice Shard, poor Wa, he had to fight back-to-back weeks. He had to fight really strong Ice Shard users, but and just Kilowattrel. But yeah, Ice Shard is threatened, so he switches out into Politoed there, who would tank an Ice Shard very well, and protects the Polt there as Ice Shard comes out into Pass. So really good play from Alberto there, probably because the switch was pretty obvious on Kilowattrel. Like it's very obviously going down there. And so Wa is a good player. He's not gonna just let his Pokemon go down like that. And so Alberto able to monopolize on that. And it's funny we have Alberto and Wa in the chat now. But yeah, another slightly funny thing is that we do see the Intimidate come out at the end of this turn, where Intimidate comes out into both of these Pokemon with abilities that make them immune to Intimidate. So literally does nothing here. Only thing it works into is like, well, I guess Alberto does have 5 physical Pokemon on this team, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, still does put in work. And Terra Poison comes out, which is really solid because you're expecting an Ice move from Mamoswine, but Terra Grass Mamoswine threatens like a Terra Blast into Politoed, which could be huge. And then Sucker Punch on the Polt resists the Weather Ball from Mamoswine and Scale Shot from Crook. Huh. Interesting. That -1 defense could matter, though. So, and Icicle Crash kills it. So, yeah, maybe it did matter. Interesting. Huh. But now it's Kilowattrel and Politoed versus Honchkrow and Mamoswine. And unless Kilowattrel has Protect here, he should be going down. Honchkrow should be able to pick up on Politoed and 2 attacks here. And Ice Shard does pick up. And then Weather Ball picks up on Mamoswine as well, as Night Slash is a ton of damage. And yeah, this should be over with Sucker. Got you.
Wow.
I also do want to mention that this either isn't Max Speed Mamoswine or it's Scarf Politoed. Because it was outspeeding the Mamoswine. I think it's Scarf Politoed. But yeah, it is Scarf. So that's another thing that's really good information if you're Alberto. You can kind of keep that in the back of your mind for game 2. Where it is a Politoed Kilowattrel lead, just leading the Weather Setter again, because kind of nothing Alberto can do about the weather, so yeah. Immediate Terra Grass, actually, but dodges the Muddy Water anyways. And then Tailwind comes out on both sides. Icicle Crash just Oko's Kilowattrel. Really good turn 1 if you're Alberto, except you did waste a Terra, so maybe not really good, but kind of good. And Muddy Water comes out again, picks up there. Icicle Crash into the Terra. Good Terra there from Wa. Oh, but gets flinched. That really sucks. Yeah, that could have been a really good play there. But switches into Basque and protects here, actually. So we're going to take a ton of damage because Dragon Darts does auto-target. It's the only move that does this, but it plays pretty well on its own. So if there's a fairy type or a protect, it'll just double target the other Pokemon. Normally, it tries to hit one of each if it can, but if it would cause it to only hit once, then it chooses to hit the other Pokemon 2 times. Really unique move in that way, but a really good move too. So yeah, and so with that and the knockoff, Basque Legion just goes down for nothing. Yeah. Wow. All of a sudden, this game is super in Alberto's favor. And Citrus pops on Sinisha and Dragon Darts. Yeah, would not have done a ton of damage there, but Ice Beam rips, picks up on Mamoswine, and Strength Sap here is pretty cool. So how it works is you see that Strength Sap on Clear Body, it doesn't fail actually. It just doesn't lower the attack. And restores back up to full HP. What that means too is that Strength Sap has kind of like a natural built-in like thing of if you keep lowering someone's attack, you're going to keep healing less, right? Because you heal based on how strong they are and how high their attack is. But Dragapult here, because it's Clear Body, his attack's never going down. So you're always healing back to full HP every single time. This is something that I ran like once in Mox, but I wasn't able to use into Dragapult in Mox, and so I'm pretty sure Alberto knew about this, but it's something that is a real problem because now Sinistra is like super hard to kill, only taking 20% from those Dragon Darts. Like it feels really problematic trying to kill it here. Especially with only one Pokemon left in the back, which is Honchkrow. So yeah, and with Rage Powder, oh, good Sucker Punch or a good Rage Powder on the Sucker Punch. As Ice Beam picks up on Honchkrow, probably would have without the crit too. And yeah, it looks like a pretty tough spot if you're Alberto because and the freeze,
Oh my
but
god.
either way, Rage Powder would just really work on Sinisha and. Like, in this situation, if he doesn't go for Rage Powder, Politoed takes, a bit of chip there. Sinistra goes down to, like, 10%, but then Strength Sap's back to full and can Rage Powder, like, 4 more times or something. So, like, it's a really impossible situation for Alberto to win with this Strength Sap Sinistra in the back with Terra Dark, that is. So, I also... I'm not sure if this is Banded Bolt. It's not doing enough damage to make me think it is. Or if it's choiced in some regard. I don't really think it is. But yeah, he will probably just, or very easily lose this game to another Ice Beam. And yeah. All right, so now we're going to Game 3, actually. What a fun set. We have Politoed, Basque Legion off rip from Wa, threatening a lot of offense into Rabombi and Mamoswine, who will immediately switch into Quagsire, hoping for the Water Absorb, and that's exactly what happens. Really good switch from Alberto there, yeah, tanking that. And the Muddy Water misses again. Knockoff, ooh, could have come out into the Basque Legion, would have been fun. I don't know if it would have OHKO'd, but it looks like it would have with how much damage it just did, so, yeah. It's all good, though, because Flip Turn's able to come out into the Mamoswine and basically a double switch there. Earthquake doing a ton of damage to Quagsire, so pretty bad play there, but recovers it back up. So not too bad, I guess, but still not great. And then Terra Water Kilowattrel on the Ice Shard, because Ice Shard threatens an OHKO, so Wa just has to Terra straight up. But yeah. And then Hurricane picks up, actually. Actually, not actually, of course it does. But Ice Beam as well, so pretty rough play there from Alberto, and that could be game losing in this situation. Because Hospitality heals up Kilowattrel. But with Tailwind up now, yeah, it's looking pretty tough. And can't safely Sucker either, so. Rage Powder comes out. Thunderbolt doing a ton of damage. And Yawn into Sinisha is, not bad, but can just switch. And comes out into Politoed to reset the rain. As Thunderbolt just nukes Honchkrow. Oof, rough call there on the switch. Instead of just, like, Sucker Punching. Yeah, I think Sinisha's always switching there. so you can pretty safely sucker punch the Kilowattrel and Tailwind's up. I mean, if you're going to Ice Beam anyways, like, I don't know. I don't. Oh wait, it was a Rabambi. Yeah, but Rabambi could still attack because Rabambi. Um, I mean, it is outsped by Kilowattrel, but still, you don't want to just sack Honchkrow for no reason because Honchkrow can sucker, right? So feels like a little bit of a rough switch out there, as Ice Beam picks up on Kilowattrel, and yeah. And now it's Politoed Basculegion versus Rabambi Quagsire. No Terra on the Quagsire just yet, but he will recover? That was not a great turn to recover. You could like yawn or try and claw your way back, I guess. But it feels pretty doomed, and no Terra available to it, so he will be able to. It won't be able to wall Basculegion actually because he can't Terra here, and will just go down. So yeah, unfortunate game if you are Alberto. You felt like you had a lot of opportunities there, maybe, but wasn't exactly able to capitalize on it. And yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts?
It was a fun set to watch. I don't know. I kind of almost thought that could be Alberto's game three, but I think it was like turn three or something went like really poorly. Was that the one? No, it was like the first turn where Basculegion. Yeah,
Which
Alberto had a very good early turn.
yeah, turn one was a really good
The
turn.
flip turn in. I kind of thought this was going to be Alberto, but Wah had a good comeback. So
Yeah, I was a little bit caught off guard with it not ending in Alberto's favor with how this turn one turned out. But yeah, I think Wall kind of outplayed him kind of throughout, and then
yeah.
yeah, the
There
turn.
also was a time where I think Alberto like doubled Kilowattrel and it, like Terra watered. That was like kind of a big moment. I feel like
Yeah, here.
because this did like nothing. Or,
Oh, not. Yeah, it was here. He got doubled he doubled it with ice moves on the Terra Water, so that was really bad.
yeah,
Turn two also with the earthquake. Expecting to do big damage here, but because of the double switch, earthquake was actually just a really bad play here. So turns two, three, and four were just like all kind of rough, and
right.
yeah, because I mean, or four wasn't that bad actually, but turns two and three were bad, and then turn what turn? Yeah, turn six was also bad. So yeah, pretty unfortunate game for Alberto, but can definitely bounce back in week four. Good player with a good team who made a lot of changes and is gonna be able to use kind of the new team in I think week four. So that's should be fun, just to see him with his new team. But yeah,
Yeah, good
uh,
set.
yeah, good set. And let's move on to me versus Charcoal. So coming into this match, I'm running Terra Ground on three things, Terra Fire on two things. Both of us did not have a ton of time to prep this week, and it'll probably be apparent in the gameplay a little. But yeah, I thought his team with a pseudo sun mode and with Whimsicott as a sun setter, I thought, well, I'm an ice snow team. He's a pseudo sun team. He's pretty pretty reasonably going to run a lot of sun. He's going to try and use sun as much as possible here, was my thought process, to try and disrupt my snow. So I believe I was running Chilly Reception on Slow King. I was running Snowscape on Ninetales. I was running Terra Ground on these, which resist fire, and Terra Fire, which resists fire, obviously. So the goal was just to really stop his sun mode with Hisuian Typhlosion, which was like the main thing that I found threatening. And then Lycanroc with Life Orb or Choice Band would just do so much damage into like most of my team. Rock is my main weakness, and there's an argument that Lycanroc Dusk is the scariest rock type to have to fight because of Accelerock with Tough Claws and a super high attack stat. So If you're a rock weak team, this is like the kind of the nightmare matchup. It's just like in rock, right? Even though I have a lot of answers for it, he's still very scary, and I'm gonna have to Terra in front of it a lot, which kind of sucks. I also do have Tailwind, and he also has Tailwind, but other than that, I do have Trick Room, and he does not. He has Oranguru on his team, which is a Pokemon that typically like he wants to set Trick Room or Imprison Trick Room, but he actually decided not to bring it this week, which is very surprising for me. But I was fine with that because it meant my Trick Room mode was much better. So yeah, coming into that, I was thinking like I probably want to lead with Trick Room, and so he leads Whimsicott Tauros, but I lead my Slowking and Talonflame. And here, the idea is like, I want to go for Trick Room, but if I lead Talonflame, then maybe he expects me to go for Tailwind, right? And so I can kind of fake out the fact that I'm going for Tailwind here. But he does switch into Venusaur. He Aqua Jets me, which doesn't do a ton, but I taunt what was the Whimsicott because he can Tailwind, right? He has Prankster. I only have priority on my Tailwind or my flying moves, right, when I'm at full HP. So he's going to be able to get up his move first. If it's Tailwind, that's actually good for me because I'm going for Trick Room. But otherwise, a Taunt is still really good to shut down anything it wants to do. Taunt on the Venusaur is also good here because potential Sleep Powder, right? He's no longer able to click. But I am able to get up Trick Room here and works out pretty well for me. I'm going to switch into Orthworm here because I'm able to tank an Aqua Jet really well with both Pokemon now. And yeah, I just think this is a pretty good play. Slowking might want a Terra in front of Venusaur, but I choose to conserve my Terra and go for Psyshock here into the Tauros instead of the Venusaur, which is a really bad play because he does Terra Rock. Could have been a really good play if I had just gone into Venusaur, but yeah. And he Giga Drains, but I'm Rindo Berry, which was a last minute change, actually. I was Citrus Berry, but when I decided to run Orthworm, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. Well, I guess it was a last minute team in general, but I was like, if I want to run Orthworm, I almost definitely want Citrus Berry on it with Shed Tail because I can have my HP, then eat the Citrus Berry, then switch out, which is quite nice. But Slowking was holding the Citrus Berry, so instead I was like, he can run a Rindo Berry, which works out pretty well into this Venusaur Giga Drain. Terra Rock, Terra Blast is a huge target from Tauros because I was already half HP on my Talonflame. Aqua Jet would have done the same thing, but he commits very strongly and also covers for a switch into an Ice type. So basically, as long as I don't switch into Garchomp or Earthworm, this is a good play. If I do, it's a terrible play, and so it turns out to be a terrible play because I switched into Earthworm. And yeah, at this point, I can Psyshock the Venusaur, but I decided to disable it so that he can't Giga Drain me, because I think a Giga Drain is like his kind of his only play here. He could potentially Earth Power into Earthworm, but I have Earth Eater, right? So makes me immune to those ground moves. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure what Tauros wants to go for, but probably close combat into Earthworm, right? I'm able to Shed Tail kind of out of that before he's able to do so, and I feel like that's a pretty good situation. So I choose to do so. Get back up above half, and send out Garchomp here, who will be able to tank a close combat right through the sub, and lowers his defense. And what's nice about this play, also the fact that the Giga Drain, he did in fact go for Giga Drain. What's nice about this play is that I can very comfortably, like switch to Orthworm and like EQ, or there's just so many plays available to me in this spot, and so I feel pretty good about it. But yeah, he does protect the Venusaur as I Chilly Reception into Talonflame and then Earthquake. So in this situation, a switch into Orthworm would be so much better because I can get Earth Eater to heal back up Orthworm more. But I think to myself that I need something. I need a ground immunity on my Earthquake, right? And so when once I click a Chilly Reception, I'm like, oh shoot, Earthworm's weak to ground because he's a Steel type, but I forget about Earth Eater. So a little bit of a misplay there because with one turn left to Trick Room, like it would have been so much better to like Earthquake on Earthworm and then either Shed Tail or just hard switch into Talonflame, or just stay in with it. But yeah. And then here, He gets the Intimidate. I am clear Amulet because I'm expecting the Intimidate from Tauros and maybe like a Charm from Whimsicott. So I switch into Orthworm here, which is a much worse play than just like than having done that before. And then I forget a Terran Garchomp. I knew he would be running Weather Ball Venusaur, but I was thinking about Weather Ball Venusaur as a fire type move always, and so I wasn't thinking that he could really do anything to me. But I forgot that it went both ways with Sun and Snow, right? So it was able to be an Ice type move and then 4 times super effective into Garchomp and just OHKO me. So very poor play there by me on both sides. So yeah. He does switch out as I Terra Dark, just kind of for safety. And I protect on the close combat, which I expect here, and set Trick Room. So it works out pretty well for me. But I do have to watch out for Encore on Whimsicott, right? Into the protect, not onto the Trick Room, because I am Terra Dark. So I'm very safe there, but he could also Moonblast me, right? But instead he chooses to switch into Venusaur. I wanted to CC so I could stay in with Orthworm here, right? Disabling a close combat would have been really good for me. But instead, yeah, I just Iron Head pick up, kill Whimsicott. And it's still a good turn for me, so, can't be mad about that at all. And now that I'm -1, I probably want to Shed Tail out of here as I can Psy Shock the Venusaur. But instead, I choose to Psy Shock the Tauros, expecting a Protect on Venusaur. I truthfully was not expecting him to just kind of sit in front of me after Psy Shock was already revealed. But yeah, I could have done so. It would have been a much better play. And I do Iron Head, and I expect this to kill Tauros, but he's max HP, and so it doesn't. And I'm intimidated, so I forget about both those things. But I get the flinch, so I get pretty lucky in that regard. Tauros could have put in work, could have OHKO'd Orthworm there. But yeah, it would have been a much better situation if I could have done that. But I misplay there. Sorry. And then in this situation, he Aqua Jets into my Slowking, but I hold on there. I Psyshock crit the Venusaur, which totally matters. Would not have picked up without it, so got pretty lucky there. Again, so just 2 bits of RNG in my favor, and then Iron Head picks up on Tauros, and now this game is pretty hard for me to lose. So yeah, pretty unfortunate. And in this situation, the best move is just to I forget what I had on Orthworm, but I think but the best move is just kind of like I think I'm Helping Hand Orthworm. Yeah, so like Helping Hand Psyshock is probably just the best play here, but or like Protect maybe, I don't know. But what is not the best play is what I go for, right? Which is Shed Tail, brings me extremely low, and sets up Talonflame, whose sub gets broken here. I did not expect that. I totally expected sub to be up still as a fire move, right? So I could pick up this turn, and now I'm in a situation where, like, well, maybe I do lose to Heat Wave here, actually, right? If I can't kill with Dual Wing Beat, which is what I'm running. But I remember I have Helping Hand, so I go for Helping Hand, Dual Wing Beat, and you see just 31%, right? So if it did any less, because it's 2 hits, did any less, it would not have picked up, and I would have lost game 1. Presumably. I mean, Talonflame probably died there. I think it was Specs Typhlosion, or played like it was, at least. And so maybe it wasn't. Maybe that was a misread on my part. But either way, I assume it's doing it, even if it's not Specs, it's probably doing enough damage to pick up on Talonflame there, and so very close game. But yeah. Next we have game 2 here, which is pretty interesting for me because I did run with Trick Room game 1, and it worked out pretty well for me, I would say. I did get lucky. That was definitely not like a skill-based win, really. But Trick Room still worked pretty well for me, so makes sense to go for Trick Room again, right? Which is why I decided to obviously not go for Trick Room, and instead go for Talonflame Garchomp, which, not a bad lead, right? Because Garchomp and Talonflame have some pretty nice natural synergy, but not great when Trick Room is very obvious, and not great into these two as well. So he does just switch, actually, which works out fine for me because Talonflame's able to live very easily. And Earthquake comes out. So not a bad turn for me, but I don't do nearly as much as I was expecting to, because I was expecting Lycanroc, right? To die to my my Earthquake there. Or take a lot at least. So I switch into Ninetales on the Aqua Jet and Protect, right? And he does just Aqua Jet, which is fine by me. And then he Giga Drains the Garchomp. So in this situation, he can Weather Ball me, right? Which is something I got to keep in mind. But at the same time, he has Wave Crash and Aqua Jet, so I got to keep an eye out for that. I choose to Terra Fire anyways and D-Gleam, expecting it to do a ton to Tauros or maybe pick up, but it doesn't. And then I Crunch, covering for a Typhlosion switch and not wanting to hurt my Ninetales. But that's also a miscalculation because both of these attacks do way less damage than I expect. And then Wave Crash does come out, and he's able to pick up the kill, even though he does die to recoil. And then Sludge Bomb picks up on my Ninetales. So very bad situation for me. That is entirely my fault. And now it's a Titan and Talonflame versus these two. It's going to be a pretty tough comeback for me without my Terra especially. So yeah. In this situation, he double protects to stall out my Tailwind. I just dual Wing Beat Knockoff here. Knockoff to scout the item. But in this situation, I can Tailwind Earthquake. Picks up Venusaur and does not quite on Goodra. But Flash Cannon does so much that Accelerock is the guaranteed to kill me here. So, and he Terra Fightings for good measure. So there's just no way I win this. I am Chardy Berry actually for Accelerock, so it won't kill me. But that's from full HP. From that HP, I always die. And then Accelerock actually picks up on the Titan, which lets me know, because he's not taking recoil from Life Orb, that he is banded on Lycanroc. So that is some valuable information, to be fair. But still, yeah, not a great game 2 for me by any means. And really got to lock in for game 3 here. So I decide to go back to my Trick Room mode, which was by far the best mode that I had, right? There's kind of no reason for me not to run it. And so I do lead my Slowking and Orthworm here. And he Terra Rocks his Tauros right away in close combat, so really rough turn from him. I'm not exactly... I think that was for a Psyshock, maybe, the Terra Rock there. But in this situation, I'd always rather get up Trick Room and then Psyshock next turn. So I'm not exactly sure what the logic was, other than, maybe for Psyshock. And then the Protect on the close combat was huge because it means that I'm able to get up Trick Room very safely. He Life Dews too, so really bad turn for him, because he does literally nothing, and I can get up Trick Room up for very free, and then I disable a close combat anyways. So works out very well in my favor. And I'm able to Shed Tail into my Titan here, as his close combat is disabled. So now I'm in a situation where he can Terra Rock Terra Blast me and Flash Cannon me, but Terra Ground resists both of them and powers up my Earthquakes and High Horse powers. So I decided to go for that. And I Chilly Reception into my Earthworm, right? Because now I remember, oh, it's Earth Eater, right? So I can Earthquake next to it. So even though he breaks my sub, I'm able to heal up my Pokemon, do a ton of damage to his, and his Terra Rock, Terra Blast does nothing. So it works out very well in my favor. I'm now able to very comfortably go for the same play here. He does Aqua Jet actually, which I forget about at the moment. But yeah, I'm still able to heal up my Earthworm, and it works out pretty well in my favor. And now that Venusaur has hit the field, I can assume the last Pokemon is Lycanroc, which would be really good because I'm Terra Ground, I have a Steel type, and then my last Mon is Garchomp, I believe. So I'm just in a really good situation for dealing with this banded Lycanroc, because I have 3 resists and 1 neutral Mon, right? And Goodra's still weak to ground. Also, at this point, we have revealed the whole Goodra set. It is Protect, Flash Cannon, Life Dew, and Body Press. So I know that he's not Weather Ball at all, because that was a concern. If he were Weather Ball, then Titan would be much more vulnerable, or maybe Draco Meteor or something, Drum Dragon move too. Any of those things would have been more threatening to me, but because I know his set, I'm able to play around that better. He's able to body press, which does a good bit of damage, but I can shed tail into my Garchomp now and high horsepower the Goodra. So alternatively, I could have just ripped another Earthquake, right, which would have been kind of basic, but would have worked. But in this situation, I was like, if I can get in Garchomp behind a sub, that would be huge. And so I choose to do that. Works out pretty well in my favor because I'm barely able to get off the sub, right, into Garchomp. And I'm able to pick up the kill, so now I have Garchomp behind a sub, and Titan versus Venusaur, and it is, in fact, Lycanroc, right? So I protect here because I assume he's going to double target me. If not, I can still get a free switch out, so it works out pretty well in my favor either way. Ice Shard comes out to Venusaur, and he does close combat this Titan as he Weather Balls the Garchomp, right? So I still am behind sub, and I do have my Orthworm here, so I can just Helping Hand Earthquake here, and that should be like a really unstoppable play. And he does close combat, breaks my sub, but I do Earthquake, and Venusaur lives. I thought this would kill, but he lives, but it goes for Giga Drain here, probably expecting a switch into Slowking, which is reasonable because even if he Weather Balled killed there, I still win this game with Psyshock, and I do have Disable if I want for his Giga Drain, so like, there's kind of no winning in this situation for him, so you kind of have to go for a big play like that, which is very reasonable, but it doesn't work out, and so I'm able to just Helping Hand Earthquake again, and I take the win. So I'm now 3-0, which is nice. Nick kind of same. I don't know if we've watched Nick play yet, actually, have we?
No.
No, we haven't.
Nick and Charcoal? Wait. Nick played Raphael and?
Yeah, we haven't seen that one yet, but he was also 2-0 coming into this week, and yeah, so that is something good to know as well. That we were kind of towards the top, so getting a win here bumps me up to 3-0. And I will say my games 1 and 2 were pretty sloppy. Game 1 I pretty much won from RNG. Game 2 was very sloppy and lost it deservingly. And Game 3 I played very well, I think. But yeah, a little bit disappointed in myself, but was still able to get the win, and that's kind of the most important thing. Something I said last week about WA is that I care about my differential against WA, but not really. It's more about like getting the win, and I think that's kind of my logic generally playing, is that if I can just get a win, game wins are the most valuable thing, right? Game wins and set wins are by far the most valuable thing. So I'll play in a way to help my set as opposed to differential sometimes, if it means conserving information, if it means just like a more guaranteed win, like I'll always go for those kind of things, even if it hurts my differential. So yeah, but that I will certainly take a win, and yeah, let's move on to here's Nick versus Raphael Ant, a new player who actually made up his week 1 matchup versus who did he play week 1?
Saline, I think.
Didn't we just? No, yeah, I think he did play Saline, I believe. I'm not sure if you won or lost that,
yeah.
but he did make up the match, so that is good. And yeah, he had a pretty interesting team here. I believe he brought the same 6 in his other matchup, and Nick bringing kind of the same 6 he brought week 1, I believe, or just kind of a very standard team for him. So yeah. And we see a Froslass Tauros lead, which is, I mean, the Frost Breath Anger Point thing is kind of standard here. Meteor Beam comes out, though, into Tauros, not Froslass. Would have OHKO'd the Froslass there. Interesting. But Rock Slide is able to come out and just nukes Volbeat, right, because your max attack. But a layer of Toxic Spikes is able to come out, too. I start to break the multi-scale, if it is multi-scale, but we see the Sludge Bomb pick up on the Tauros, so kind of a wasted, or somewhat of a wasted Anger Point there, but still able to get off damage before it goes down. And then Outrage doing a ton of damage. I think we've seen Banded Outrage from him before, and that's almost definitely what it is again, with this kind of damage, as Froslass holds on with Sash. So, wow,
Oh my god.
Great play there
Holy shit.
on the energy ball into the Terra Water Gliscor. Great play from Nick there. Um, and Outrage is able to pick up on Frostlass as well. And now it's a 3v1, and the one is Rillaboom, who's poisoned. So a switch into Mienshao just to kind of play it safe, I think, as Grassy
Oh
Glide comes
no.
out into the Glamora on the Spiky. So he can just switch into Dragonite this turn. Or sorry, the following turn. But Fake Out Sludge Bomb should pick up here. Yeah, it does. I was gonna say that on the following turn, if you're concerned about a Grassy Glide picking up, you can just switch into Dragonite pretty safely. But this works much better, so works out as well. And yeah, let's move on to game two, where Raphael and Nick are going at it, and Raphael needs to make an adjustment, and he immediately does with the Disquake lead into Mienshao Dragonite. We see a Protect and a Wide Guard, actually. Wide Guard really good for this Disquake
Oh wow.
strategy. I like that a lot. And Outrage comes out and nukes Rotom Wash. That's totally banded damage, but still super strong there. And coaching on top of that means he's doing like infinite damage. Gliscor does a lot there, but oof, yeah, Outrage is hitting like a truck. And Rock Slide does come out. Could be Inner Focus, actually. But Outrage, yeah, able to pick up
Oh
on
my god.
Gliscor. And this is just like kind of a beatdown. Like, I don't think there's much he can do here. And Rock Slide misses, just salt in the wound, really. But it was kind of cooked out of their way with Body Press as the only attack. Hits himself in Confusion, so maybe if he gets really lucky with Rock Slides. But he would just need a flinch here and next turn. But yeah, Outrage does come out. And this is definitely game over, especially with Encore. It is Encore. So yeah.
Oh no.
Wow. Just no answers for Banded Dragapult, which is really rough. But yeah, Nick gets the win here, and it was just a super one-sided battle. Raphael kind of had nothing for that Banded Pult. And yeah, it really showed kind of why Dragonite is so valuable, why he's a 20-pointer. I mean,
Jeez.
he only clicked Outrage that game. He clicked it like 6 times or 5 times or
Yeah.
3 times. Felt like infinite times with how much
Felt like,
damage he was doing.
yeah.
But or yeah, it was 4 times, I guess. But no, he only clicked it 3 times, but it went off a ton of times. Right, that makes sense because it's like a multi-turn move. You know,
Yeah.
it goes for 2 to 3 turns. That makes sense. But yeah, really convincing win from Nick, and he's now 3-0 with me. So very impressed by him. Except I'm 3-0 with a +5 game diff and I think +9 mon diff, and he's 3-0 with a +6 game diff and a +17 mon diff. So just 2 very different stories. +17 at 3-0 is just ridiculous, by the way. I think that means he has lost 7 Pokemon, maybe. In over 3 sets. I'm not sure if that math is correct, but either way, he's a very good player. And yeah, he deserves to take the win there because he played very well, and also Raphael just had no answers for the Banded Outrage, so that's something you got to learn in the future. Coming up against Nick, especially, you got to have answers for Dragonite, and if you don't, you're just gonna get punished. So, but yeah, let's move on to the last matchup. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
Yeah, I can like take the reins here, I
Yeah.
guess. So this is my last game with like my old team. I like totally remodeled everything with some help from Blizzard here. Um, I was kind of feeling bad about it, but I was able to make it work pretty well against Table's team. Table's really good. I was super scared for this game. It was pretty good, old-fashioned Weather Wars, Pelipper versus Torkoal. Um, I had Storm Drain Gastrodon to deal with a lot of the water types, but I didn't even think about Propeller Tail. Thankfully, it still worked out, but like I forgot about that ability. Um, but yeah, let's just begin.
And yeah, I will say that I do think the table has a slightly positive matchup into your team here. Um, he's bringing three Terra Dragons, which is pretty funny. Just for
Oh
different
yeah,
reasons, like for electric here, then for water
yes, I guess water.
and grass here, and then for fire here. But still, yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can kind of take the reins on this one.
yeah. Okay, so the first turn, I'm trying to remember what I even did. Okay, I fake outed that. I was kind of thinking maybe he would protect Barraskewda, but he didn't, thankfully, and I got Trick Room up safely. Um, maybe he could struggle bug or something. I wasn't really sure, but I felt pretty good about this here.
Yeah,
Um,
switching to Torkoal lets you
quick one,
get
oh, this
the
was
weather
pretty
back.
fun.
Oh, great
I had the
play
energy
there
ball up.
on the energy ball. I mean, into
Yeah,
Barraskewda, it's good, right? It'll kill
yeah,
Barraskewda, but on the switch into Rhyperior on the energy ball, yeah, he just gets completely nuked there. Thinking he
yeah.
could
That was a
take
last
advantage of
minute
Trick Room.
addition.
Yeah,
I threw an
really
energy
good call
ball in there
there.
like 5 minutes before a battle. I'm glad I did that. Chaludon comes in.
Ooh,
He sets
good.
up the rain again. I
Yeah.
messed up the timing. That was well played by him.
Oh, but you still
Um,
sunny day, and so it's not bad.
I still have it back up, so he'll have to use Rain Dance again on Illumise. Um,
And you rip a
Heatwave's not
heat
really
wave
doing much
again.
anymore.
And
Snarl.
Snarl plus struggle bug. Wow.
The Torkoal's special attack is really low now.
Yeah, but Gastro not
So is
quite able to
Rhyhorn.
pick up because he's -1. But we'll
Oh,
get snarled
Snarl's gonna
again.
work.
Maybe struggle bugged again. Yep. -3
Yeah.
on this on poor Mike. Trickum does end actually. Scrafty comes
Trick Room
out here.
ends.
No switch from Torkoal, by the
The
way, in this
Dragon
situation
Pulse
is
is.
crazy. Like, I feel like you want to switch him out to reset the weather later, but
I just I just wanted to kill this Archelion, and so I did Heatwave here. It actually still kills, despite me being half special attack
in
and
rain.
in the rain.
You also are Terrifier, which
So
helps.
now that I did that, I think I was comfortable switching him
Yeah.
out. Um, and here's Propeller Tail. Oh wait, no, it's about to become Propeller
It
Tail.
protects for the fake out, which
So
is, pretty reasonable. But
right.
yeah,
So
when watching this game,
that's
I
that.
was not entirely sure kind of how he was able to do it. Then I was like, oh, propeller tail. So means his attacks can't be redirected, but we'll still die to Earth Power here. And Illumise, we know his entire
Yes.
moveset. Struggle Bug will not be able to kill either of these guys. So dies to fake out actually, which is really funny. But yeah,
So
well played game one. Yeah, very not actually super close. You were able to kind
pretty
of.
happy that turned out.
I think the
I
really
was pretty
pivotal
lucky
turn
about the
was
Rhyperior
this.
switch in.
This was the really pivotal turn
It's
with the energy
big.
ball just like making it a 3v4 instantly.
That
But
was very helpful. Yeah.
yeah, got in game two, got to keep an eye out for the snarl and struggle bug because that hits pretty hard on Farig especially, but lowers the special attack a lot.
I don't have a lot of special attackers.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and it is an arch Barraskewda lead this time into Farig or Ikorio. Interesting.
I did this expecting him to bring in Poltergeist, maybe imprison Trick Room or something to stop me. So I did a faster lead.
Oh, but he
But he
Dragon
protected
Tails
me,
for Trick Room. Interesting.
which is a really cool counter. So I was like, I have no idea how to deal with that at all.
you
I
just
forget what I even
switch.
did. I did
You
a double
switch in
switch, I
Torkoal
think.
and Gastro.
Right. That's what I did to deal
Oh
with it.
yeah, wrong switches there, but oh wow, Torkoal just gets nuked instantly.
So Torkoal's dead. This was fucking terrifying. But
Oh, but doesn't go for opt to Dragon Tail again into Frigg. Interesting. He wants
no.
to change
So
the weather.
yeah.
Huh.
So it works out.
He gets the weather. You protect as he. Ooh, good protect there. And Earth Power. Ooh,
Not
bad
good.
Earth Power
Not
though.
good.
Liquidation doing a ton
He
into
loves that.
Frigg, and then he weather balls, just
Maybe
forgetting
tried to
about Storm
double
Drain.
rig or something.
Yeah, I assume he wanted to pick
I
up
think
on
that's what he meant
Frigg.
to do. This is pretty nice. That was a very good special attack boost for me.
Yeah, and the energy ball almost kills Barraskewda there, but Earth Power kills. Yeah, it's all good. And now it's now it's Arch and Pelly versus these two. He does have one in the back still, but actually he doesn't have or you don't have weather control, So potentially you could
I
like
don't.
Hurricane and like Electroshot into Rig or like Dragon Pulse, Gastro. So yeah, there's a lot of plays where he could be in a good spot here. Switches into Rhyperior though, and Deep Pulse picks up. Not sure why not going for oh, because he's switching into Rhyperior, so he can't Electroshot. I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense. And
Oh, right.
Earth Power. Oh my God, Earth Power kills because he's +1.
Able to kill now. Life orb.
And
Yeah,
your Life Orb, yeah, Gastro putting in work here. As the Terra
yeah,
Grass
he
is
was good.
interesting. Hmm. Oh, for Revelation Dance, yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense, makes
Yeah.
sense. And then a Weather Ball
And
kills
that kills
again.
with
Oh
his
my God,
I like
Gastrodon.
Gastrodon and fucking work. Yeah.
Offensive Gastrodon is a menace, and yeah, Oricorio is able to pick up Rhyperior. Poor Rhyperior just dying to a grass move 2 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I was pretty amazed that I won that.
Yeah, you played very
I was
well.
really fortunate about the Weather Ball special tech boost because that kind of helped. I don't think I could have killed Archelidon one shot without that. So
Yeah, or the Pelipper actually. I don't think.
right with Weather Ball, oh my God, definitely not. I mean, I'm
Yeah, so
amazed that one shot.
that one misplay really cost him the entire game, which is which
Yeah,
sucks, but like
that totally
um
sucks. But you know, don't see
yeah.
me complaining.
So well played game there. And yeah, I think this was it's a pretty good week overall in terms of gameplay. Gastro, the MVP of the week for you for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's take a look at who we think might be Elysium and Fields of Punishment. Thanks to spam, we actually can't say who we think or who we think should actually get it, but we can say a list of ideas. So I will go through kind of who I think would be the best candidates for each. We can start with Fields. I'll say TBL is a consideration for sure with that weather ball play especially, but also the switching on the energy ball. Just like made a lot of kind of really big blunders here, which cost him the game. As you said, that +1 Gastro was crucial to picking up on both Archaludon and Pelipper. Wouldn't have killed either if he weren't +1.
Yeah.
You still like. I'm not saying you have lost by any means, but yeah. And then not going for Hurricane at any point, like literally never clicked Hurricane with Pelipper. Maybe he didn't have it, but if he didn't, then again that's also a misplay. So yeah, I think TBL is definitely one to consider. Raphael had no answer for a banded Dragonite who has now played 3 weeks, but he's seen this Dragonite twice before and had no answer for it. So that's like maybe Raphael as well. I wouldn't say Charcoal. He played really well in that game too, and pretty well in that game one. Definitely not Alberto. He put up a very solid performance before, kind of. He did choke a little bit towards the end actually, but I think he put up a really good game one, and kept it close and very winnable in the other games. So I wouldn't really say Alberto here. Maybe Spam because his turn one was really cost him game one, and then game three kind of got cooked as well. So those 2 games he got kind of got destroyed. Although he did win in 4 turns, game two, he did have a lot of RNG on his favor, and without that RNG, he would not have won. So spam is also definitely a consideration. I think soup is also a consideration for like kind of playing the same way both games after it didn't really work out. Like the Subro was kind of always bad there. Did play well game two actually, so I think maybe that saves him. But game three also, not super great, and actually loses to a flinch, so it's hard to say soup here. And Shanji, yeah, he made like a few decisions where it could have gone differently, but I think yeah, it's maybe Shanji, maybe Raphael. Where's Raphael? Sorry. Maybe Shanji, maybe Raphael is a consideration. TBL is definitely a consideration. So yeah. But and yeah, Alberto, the shorts. I still have to kind of work with spam on these. But ideally they can come out, fairly soon. I I'm gonna be able to do the Phalanx ones somewhat soon at least. But yeah, it's a little bit tough too, having to do them entirely separately. The original idea was to just kind of take clips from the streams and turn them into shorts, which would have been much easier. But Spam decided that we were gonna do them separately and not announce Elysium until the shorts. So I don't know. But yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, let's take a look at the league real quick. Here is the MVP race. We can see that Nick's Dragonite is actually number 1. His Bishop's number 7. So really impressive there. Um, I think he definitely deserves it. That Bishop, getting all of those from game 1, not even getting sent out in his week 3, which was the other week he was brought. But he went 7-0 his game, or his week 1. And Dragonite putting in so much consistent work. Also, both of his Pokemon that are up here have 0 deaths, which is really impressive. As well, Scizor for TBL also has 0 deaths, so very impressive there. But yeah, putting in crazy work. Volcarona on P4's team has also been very clearly good, and very clearly the MVP of his team. He does have Slacking Weezing as a very good duo, and Slacking is, borderline, or like just barely squeaks in the top 20, but Volcarona's number 4, and for a reason. Definitely the strongest Mon on his team so far, and very versatile, but has been using him in a much more offensive way. And so that contributes to him being as high as he is. Voids with his Ursaluna being up here makes sense because it is his strongest Pokemon, especially on the physical side, because he does have a very special team. Soup with the King Gambit actually being 1 above Bisharp is really funny. And the fact that the difference is being brought 3 games versus 2, and then 8-7 versus 7-0. So that's pretty funny as well. I have 2 Pokemon in the top 8, which is really impressive. Like for my team, I'm very proud of them to be able to put in that work. Obviously, Nick has 2 in the top 7, but my 2 in the top 8 have been putting in so much work for me. I'm someone who does not really feel the need to not bring Pokemon if they're doing well. I feel like Titan and Garchomp have earned starting spots on this team for a reason, and so only if they're in a bad matchup would I not bring them really. And I mean, there definitely are instances where I am going to not bring them. Right, it's not like I'm going to bring them both all 8 weeks, but they are the faces of the team for a reason, because they are the offensive powerhouses of the team. And it's also nice having them as both physical Pokemon, because I do have some other really strong special attackers, especially like that Porygon Z and Bellibolt and Ninetales Alola. So I have a lot of strong special attackers too to pair with them, and so it makes it harder for my opponent to kind of to answer them all. And yeah, I'm pretty nice having those. And I think Nick is in a similar situation where his team is very strong, so he has so many threats that it means you can't really be prepared for all of them. And I think that is a really valuable thing to have in draft, because your opponent can't just spend all of their effort. Like Voids' opponents can spend all of their effort on dealing with Ursaluna on the physical side, because Ursaluna is the only strong physical attacker on his team, really. And so having a good physical special split and having a more balanced team in that sense is pretty good. And yeah, some other notes I want to say about this is that we do have Hisuian Decidueye cracking the top 10, which is really impressive. We have Lycanroc off of mainly his match versus me. Alberto has his Mamoswine, the only Pokemon in the top 15 with a 1 game played, but very impressive stuff there. Then Wah has 2 top 15 Pokemon as well. Spam has his Hydreigon in there. Shanji has his Cinderace up here, so yeah. And it doesn't mean, if you don't have Pokemon up here, it doesn't mean you're not doing well, obviously. It just means you don't have 1 Pokemon or 2 Pokemon that are kind of carrying your team in the same way. So yeah. Next, let's look at the standings where we can see that Nick is currently in first place. And as I said, he is much higher than me in terms of Mon diff and one higher than me in game diff. So a much stronger 3L. But you can see among the 2-1 teams and the 1-2 teams, there's still quite a bit of disparity. +2 game diff and +6 mon diff with P4 and +1 and +2 with WA. So a little bit of a disparity there. But yeah, a lot of 2-1 teams and a lot of 1-2 teams. There's actually only one 0-3 team and only two 3-0 teams. So everyone else is in a different situation. Raphael also did get that win over Saline week 1, which is the made-up match after we got Raphael subbed in. So good for him to get that win under his belt after losing the other two. But Saline also not me to do that. Saline also was able to win the other two beyond that one loss. So yeah, both of them actually not in bad situations at all. And we see even these 1-2 teams, putting up solid performances. So yeah, pretty impressed with how the people are doing in the league so far. I think if Soup is at the bottom, that says something because he's been playing really well. Also, wait, maybe I just did Fields of Punishment, not Elysium, but yeah, that's on me. But I'll talk about that briefly as well. But yeah, I think this is a pretty close league right now. You can see that there are lots of teams that are fighting for playoff contention. As the weeks go on, it'll kind of be clear who are the favorites for being in playoffs and who are the people who have to really lock in. We can already see that Nick and I have kind of solidified ourselves as a playoff teams, unless we kind of go on dramatic losing streaks, which is definitely possible. So that's something to keep in mind. And I believe Nick has a little bit of a tough second half to his schedule. I know I have a little bit of a tough. I have a few tough matchups in my second half of the schedule, and yeah, it's something to keep an eye out for too, because some people have easier or tougher schedules in the latter half of the season, and that could drastically affect how their position changes. But yeah, I'll quickly go over who I think should be in the consideration for Elysium. I think Trickles, I think you played pretty well throughout. I think you would be a decent consideration. I think Nick, for sure, he played very well. I think, yeah, I didn't really, only game 3 was my real good game, so not me. I think Alberto kind of sold in a few instances here, but if maybe he had won, a little bit more convincingly, then I would say Wob, but I would say probably not for this week. Then I think P4, in the 2 games he won, it wasn't a ton special. He did make some good plays for sure, but it was kind of more spam misplays than anything. So, yeah, and then I think Saline played pretty solid throughout. But again, Shanji made some pretty bad misplays, and I think that was kind of more punishing or more of the issue. But still a consideration. And then Voids kept it very close and kind of needed a little bit of RNG to win that one. So, I think Saline is a consideration for sure. And I think other than that, it's probably between Nick and Chuckles as the front runners. So yeah. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. This was a slightly shorter stream, but it's all good. We had a little bit less commentary from overall in some areas. So, but yeah, this was also a little bit more of a straightforward week. I think there were some interesting matches, but it's hard to top last week in terms of interesting matches because last week was just so good. So this one might feel a little bit worse comparatively. But yeah, still a good week. And still, still pretty proud of a lot of performances from different people. But yeah, one kind of final note that I do have is in terms of the standings. I think at this point in the season, it's becoming a little bit clear who is on the path for success and who isn't, because certain teams have struggled a lot, and certain teams have made changes and others haven't. And so I think the teams that have opted to make changes, all of them have kind of improved their opportunity to succeed or turn things around, right? Looking at some of the bottom teams, I know, or the 1 and 2 teams or below. I know Spamdolf, Alberto, both of these people completely revamping their teams. Shanji, we saw his first week with his new team. Chuckles revamping his team. Soup revamping his team. So we have a lot of these players who are really making an effort to turn things around, and I think they'll probably find, if not wins necessarily, they'll still find success from doing so. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind, that in those situations where you feel like you're kind of on the path towards like failure, or on the path towards having a little bit of a disappointing season, you should keep in mind how that you can make changes and that they are available to you, and that doing so could help turn things around. I think also for the teams towards the top, should not get comfortable. I think it's very easy to lose a winning streak, and honestly, record means nothing when it comes to playoffs, right? I was third place last year, and I felt very good about my team, or felt pretty good about it, and felt pretty solid heading into playoffs, and then lost round one, right? So, and I was the back-to-back defending champ. I mean, out of anyone, I feel like I should have had a lot of reason to do well, and then I didn't. And so I think that's kind of proof that just because someone is 3-0, or just even if someone goes 8-0, it's not an indicator that they are going to win it all. So keep that in mind, that regular season isn't everything, and with these upcoming weeks, this is kind of where the separation will happen between teams that can kind of solidify themselves towards the top and set themselves up in the best possible way for playoffs, because playoffs is going to be really, really important, and going to be exciting, because we do have a lot of people who are coming over from singles. We've had TBL in Phalanx for a while now, but he's still pretty much a singles player. P4 is exclusively a singles player. Spamdolf is exclusively a singles player. So we have a lot of people who are kind of trying out doubles, and you can see that. I mean, P4 is number 3 right now. TBL is number 5 right now. Spam's number 8 right now. So we all have a lot of people who are mainly singles players are still finding success. So I think that's a testament to how they are better just kind of Pokemon players in general. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I feel like this was a pretty solid week, and hopefully we can have some slightly more entertaining stuff next week. But yeah, any final thoughts, Chuckles?
Not really. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, well, see you guys next week for week 4, and peace.